the problems of thousands of people. Gurgalim Saliva is our first speaker, and her public organization had a lot of projects, but one of them is really very special because it has something to do with a dream, which is uniting all people living on our planet. Please, the floor is yours. Good morning. Do you hear me well? Yes, yes, we hear you very well. Good morning. I would like to tell you a story which has something to do with the right to dwelling. Just imagine that you have just got your new apartment. It's really a great happiness when you have your own house or apartment because you can talk, you can scream, you can do whatever you like. And when I was 35 years old and after roaming around and renting various apartments and living spaces, I know how difficult it is. And in 2010, when in Osh we had our June events, we really started a project on keeping the housing, the dwellings as the ownership of the people. But at that time, there were riots and a lot of dwellings were set on fire. So hundreds of people actually lost everything. They lost their documents, their personal belongings, but what was really very awful is that they lost also all their valuables and they lost their memory, such as pictures and photos of their relatives and um, everything that they inherited from their mothers and grandmothers. And I was a witness of this tragedy. And we tried to do everything possible to help people to rehabilitate their dwellings. And we spent a lot of time on this. We because the people who abandoned their dwellings were still coming back in the upcoming 3 or 5 years. And when 2 years ago we were approached with a request for help to protect the dwellings and the property of the people, we really wanted to make sure that the citizens of our country will be able to resolve these problems. They didn't manage to find their organization in spite of the fact that they were located in very remote areas. And of course, if let's say you take into consideration that in every family there are 4 or 5 family members, this actually was transliterated into a threat of homeless people 5 or 4 times more in number. I mean, like 20 for one family. And I've seen those people, they're very concerned faces. Just imagine that you live in your own house and then in 1 month you receive a notice that you will have to leave this place. Of course, people were panicking. They asked us for help and we decided to help them. And now I'm really very grateful to all these people who were ready to cooperate with us. And the problem was actually that the government, when it is, for example, working with some cities, they're enforcing certain solutions. And the government, especially in the Central Asian countries, they really have to put a human being into a focus of their attention, and they have to propose the interpretation of the price of the dwellings, for example, was twice lower, and it was impossible to buy the dwellings, the housing comparable to what people used to have before at that price. So we decided to go to the parliament. We were communicating with the MPs. We were writing various petitions. And finally, we've managed to get a solution, to pass a solution that they actually revisited the contracts, and out of 14 modifications that we proposed into the contract, 9 of those were accepted. But what is really very important is that the value of compensation was increased threefold. And I would like to underscore by my story the following idea. When a person is suffering from a problem, people don't know what to do, but when we are many, and when everybody is saying that this is something that has to do with every one of us, then the project is really becoming valuable, and people start trusting us. People feel confident, and they are pretty much determined to fight for truth. But unfortunately, the civil servants, when they are abusing their power, they are enforcing people to sign some contracts which are not favorable for them. And of course, we should not leave people alone in such situation. And this is the reason for which I'm very often asked why I am doing all this. But I'm inspired by the feeling of happiness when people manage to get their property back, when people start helping each other, when people start feeling happy. I believe that we have to be all together, especially if we live in a free country where the human rights are of priority for everybody. And every day we have to prove that we are free people and that we enjoy our rights. And by telling the story, I would like to underscore, to emphasize, please believe it's worth it, so that we and our lives we really managed to get a value in our lives thanks to this help. Thank you very much indeed. Unfortunately, you don't see us. Unfortunately, you don't see this big audience which is listening to you in Facebook. And if it were possible, everybody would have applauded you for the huge job that you are doing. Thank you very much indeed. And our participants. Yes, and at the very end, I would like to add just a couple of words. Happily, these people managed to buy new housing, or they constructed new housing, and now they're happy. Thank you very much. It's a very good addition to this story. You have already mentioned that it is really very relevant and important to have people who are adhering your ideas and who are helping you and who can support you at hard times. And our next speaker is from Tashkent, and he actually has done everything to make sure that people will be able to find each other and to support each other. And the way it happened, the story will be told by Umet Burhan. Yes, good afternoon. Our platform is a kind of automated interaction between the organization and volunteers of Uzbekistan. And in spring this year, we have already completed the construction of our innovation platform. And in the process of its development, we actually named it Digital Ship Unions. And Sabina Markhachaeva, who is the head of the association and the project, the captain of our ship, she's also a designer. Farhod is a content developer and the designer of the shell of the ship. Rashidova is our consultant. Yelena is an accountant. Daniel and Nasa is a volunteer. Our 5-year-old Umar is the token of our ship, and and myself, I'm the assistant of the captain. And the innovation platform that we were developing during 6 months, we would like to unite all the volunteers and organizations of Uzbekistan who need the force and the power of volunteers. The unions on its platform is providing an opportunity to the organizations to announce the projects and the tasks and to attract the volunteers who are available and to provide volunteers with an opportunity to get the information about various events and activities and to act as organizers. And when starting beginning of April, we launched this ship on the digital deck of Union. We have already conducted several events, but mid-March, unfortunately, a pandemic broke out, and it definitely influenced on the development of our platform, and which disintegrated our team and changed somehow our life priorities. But now we are trying to get back to normal and to try to start our big travel. And probably you are interested in the answer to the question of why we have decided to choose this development of digital platform. Volunteers were still active at that time because they were providing foodstuffs to elderly people. But at that time, social nets, the volunteers. We are still working on the development of new tools, such as, for example, social card of the volunteer, thanks to which the volunteers will be able to pay with their bonuses, and there are discount and as well as cumulative bonus accumulation cards. We would like to kind of develop an approach to volunteerism development and enabling a person to be involved into social activities. Of course, volunteers are not working for the sake of money, but we have to help them somehow, because in the majority of cases, volunteers are young people. And of course, we ourselves, we need to have to get some help, to get improvements of our development, to make sure that our digital unions ship will be able to sail very soon. Because unfortunately, right now, it is based on a very small server, and very often it kicks out our ship from the network. It's very similar to constructing a big ship on a small lake. So we really need to have a big sea, a big server, which is something like 10,000 US dollars. And this is the reason for which we are trying to help this assistance, this support from the government, from international organizations. And I would like to know that during the lockdown, we were not just sitting idle, because we try to develop, to improve, and to promote our platform to a possible extent. And it yielded some fruitful results, because our platform was noticed, and it became a part of the government digitalization program in Uzbekistan, which means that it gives us an opportunity to make this platform into a common volunteerism platform on the scale of the government. It was also entered into the draft program Digital Uzbekistan 2030, which is a huge achievement for us, because it secures a long-term support to our platform. I'm an IT engineer, and very often the IT specialists spend a lot of time on processes, believing that it is very important. And a similar statement can be made about some other people as well, because, there are different processes, and we are really rushing through this life at a very high speed. And we tend to forget that we have to pay attention to people around us. To be able to listen and to hear people, and to be able just to simply smile at somebody. And this is the reason for which I am calling on everybody to try to do good from the bottom of your heart. Thank you. Thank you very much, Omid, and I wish a lot of success to your huge digital ship. Unfortunately, you will not hear our applause, but we really hope that you will be able to find a bigger server, and the internet will be a very calm sea for you. Our next hero is from Atbasar, which is a very small town in Kazakhstan. It's an non-profit organization which is called Angel, but we will hear a story not about the angels, but about very earthy cases. Ludmila, the floor is yours. Please turn on your mic, unmute your mic. Good afternoon. Just imagine a dumping waste site. From the very beginning, it was an abandoned place, and then people started bringing their whatever, any waste, everything that they don't need in their places, and they were bringing all this stuff to that place, which was located not far from their houses. And this is the reason for which in the center of Atbasar, the city where I live, we started having this huge waste site. My name is Petrova Ludmila, and I'm the head of the public organization Angel, and Atbasar is located in central Kazakhstan, not far from the capital of Kazakhstan, and we are 30,000 people in Atbasar. And our public organization, one of the members, Luba Varlamova, who moved there very recently with two children, she had a lot of expectations and dreams, and unfortunately, she found this random waste site dump place not far from her place. So yeah, it's a problem in some villages, settlements, and small cities. And unfortunately, they usually pop up very quickly when people, for example, don't want to dispose of their waste properly. They simply take a plastic bag, put it next to his porch, and very soon a random waste site pops up there. And of course, so we understand very well that it's not a very good idea, but unfortunately, people get used to it and they don't know what to do with it. But here, the people who were residing in that area decided to dispose of it, and this is the reason for which we decided to write a petition to the local government. And let's take a look at the videos. Can we take a look at the videos? Let's wait a little bit so that the video is going to be turned on. Ludmila, just wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, uh, it's a great appeal, Ludmila. Okay, you can continue. Yes, with this petition, we decided to go to Akimat, our local government, and I have to explain that in the local budget there is money available for the liquidation of such random waste disposal sites, and we were participating in the works on the budget, on the transparency of the budget, and we could understand that the local government, our Akimat, had enough money to dispose of such waste sites. And we found out that indeed the money is available, but it's not sufficient. Roughly about 2 million tenge were available in 2018, and it was the budget for the whole year. But nevertheless, the Akim of Atbasar went to the waste disposal site, evaluated it together with his specialists, and they have got to understand that they need more than 500,000 tenge, which represents 25% of the total annual budget available in Akimat's budget. And of course, it was too much. And you know, I am a teacher by my background, and I've been through the practice, which is probably typical for many cities of ex-USSR. When people don't have enough budget, it becomes a concern of the teachers and the doctors. And Atbasar was not an exclusion. We usually had the so-called Clean Thursday, when the teachers and the doctors were cleaning the city, and everybody understands that there are some articles and provisions in the laws when actually we cannot be forced to carry out such tasks. But we couldn't do anything about it. And it's what we were trying to explain to everybody. Do we want our teachers and doctors to clean our waste in the cities instead of teaching our children and treating our patients? And this is the reason for which all the citizens of our city, started cleaning the city. We were cleaning the waste. The children were participating as well. They were collecting the old waste and stuff. Akimat provided us with the equipment to be able to transport this waste outside the city, because uh, we cleaned and leveled the ground, and in front of our eyes we have seen a very nice place, which could be a very nice area for recreation. And we could we received a USAID grant, and we had some money, and we decided to buy sand to make a sandbox and several merry-go-rounds, and we wanted to make it also a very nice place, so that the children will be attracted to that place. So we fenced out this area, we painted it very nicely. All the organizers were participating in it. We also constructed one more sandbox and one more bench, and even the fence which was next to it, we decided to paint. And there were some people who are very nice drawers, and during 2 months, actually, we transformed that waste site into a playground for children. And during the winter time, the people decided to play snowballs. They were playing there, both adults and children, and it was a real victory, which actually became possible having the goodwill of the people, the support of Akimat, and our volunteerism. And I believe that the same approach is now exercised in other districts of Atbasar city. And Akimat is now, when they are passing and adopting their budget for rehabilitation of the gardens and the backyards, they usually are guided by the involvement of the community. And when people are taking care of the cleanness of the areas, when they're taking care of the constructions or the playgrounds that were installed by Akimats, and our city has been transformed very drastically, because during the last year, 5 such playgrounds were arranged in our city. So this story, which started from one landfill, actually turned Atbasar into a clean and nice city. And this fall, we have a challenge which is called Eco September, and you can take a look at the numerous videos which are available in YouTube, which is a very good demonstration of our project. Thank you very much, Ludmila. It's really surprising. I mean, all the new technologies, because previously we used to have the offline seminar when we were getting together, and we could applaud each other. But now we are moving among countries and cities, and we have a unique feeling, nevertheless, that we are all together. And we from Kazakhstan are now moving again back to Bishkek, to Kyrgyzstan. Murhan Jumabaeva is going to tell us about the civil public organization which was established when she faced a situation, a life situation that changed her lifestyle. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It's a very nice to be here with you. I am a mother of a child with diabetes. In 2012, my child was only 2 years old, and my child has got sick with diabetes. And I'm going to tell you a few words about diabetes. Diabetes in children is transliterated into sleepless nights, and the child has to receive shots 10 times a day, and we have to measure the sugar level every day. And when your child is sick, and when you know that this disease is really appalling, and the disease that you've never heard of anything before, it's a big problem. And in 2012, when my child has got sick, of course, the biggest problem for me was to accept this disease for me as the mother, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a teacher, but this disease, and I'm sorry, because each time when I talk about diabetes, I'm overwhelmed with emotions. But let's call diabetes an awful disease. Children with diabetes look like uh, normal, healthy people. Uh, and this is the reason for which every time when we work with such children, um, I would say that they are not raising our compassion or desire to render any support or assistance to them. Yes, we support you. We are together with you, and please tell your story the way you want. I would like to say that as of today, I am heading the organization Children Without Diabetes, and our organization has more than 600 parents, and we decided to establish this organization after my child has got sick, as I mentioned back in 2012, but we had to continue our lives. We had to continue working, and for the first time, we encountered that problem when our children were not accepted, were not enrolled into the kindergarten. It was a huge problem for me, and we had to establish a specialized kindergarten in 2013, which is called Little Bees. And, I never was a manager of an organization, but I had to learn how to become the director of a kindergarten. And of course, I had to learn a lot. I had to read a lot. And at the same time, I had to establish an organization, an NGO, which, as I have already mentioned before, it is called Childhood Without Diabetes. And it was already the second breakthrough, and I had to learn a lot, because we are just parents. We were not lawyers. We were not accountants or financiers. And during 8 years, we've been through a very rich experience, and we've managed to organize a lot of recreational camps for our children. For example, we trained more than 100 teachers on how to assist the children with diabetes. And we are also closely communicating and working with Ministry of Education and Ministry of Healthcare. And what diabetes gave me as a parent, I had to become a specimen for all our parents and children. And I'm trying to demonstrate that it is possible to live with diabetes and to fight for our rights. In 2015, our Ministry of Healthcare signed an order according to which the children with diabetes, the age of 18, will receive insulin of lower quality. And we were shocked at it. Why? Because the children with diabetes who are sick for longer than 3 years, they usually have some complications in their bodies. You know that diabetes may lead to hemodialysis, to amputation of limbs, or loss of eyesight. Of course, psychologically and emotionally, we were depressed and very much excited when we've learned that the Ministry of Healthcare is going to deteriorate the quality of insulin, because, funding of insulin purchases is a very soaring question, because a lot of money is usually spent by the Ministry of Healthcare from its budget on insulin, because we know that insulin is pretty expensive medication. But at the age of 18 now, children usually start already their university education, or some girls get married and they are ready to become mothers, and it's unacceptable to leave such children during very critical period of their lives, to leave them alone. And this is the reason for which we drafted a project in 2019, and we actually managed to cancel this order, to nullify it. And we were really very glad that the parents managed to um, secure the rights of their children. And for the first ever time, we managed to purchase analog of insulin at the total value of 5 million soms. And now we are getting ready for tender procurement of insulin, so that all the children who fell ill with diabetes 1 will be able to access insulin of high quality. What I can tell you very briefly, diabetes turned me, a simple mother, into a different person, because I used to live a common life, but now I'm a director of more than 5 organizations, which are very different from each other, because I'm a director of a children's polyclinic, where all children can get medical aid, healthy people, healthy children, the children with diabetes. I'm the director of a kindergarten and the public association, and I also submitted the documents to the Council of the Ministry of Healthcare. And it turns out that I'm learning something new, some new skills every year. Because previously we could not even make any report or a statement in front of the people. Such is my fate, and probably I have to be grateful that my child is sick with diabetes, but nevertheless, so we can live with diabetes, and we can unite the people, and we can bring the people around us. We are, of course, committing some mistakes, but at the same time, we managed to get a lot of achievements. And this year, for example, we've been working on a huge task, and in spite of its online mode, we are conducting screening of teachers, and we are measuring the level of sugar in their blood. We are providing a lot of information on preventive measures and on healthy nutrition. And we are trying to be useful for our society. Nurhan, thank you very much indeed. And we are virtually applauding you from the big audience. We've been listening to 4 stories during our meetings. Thank you very much indeed. And I hope that your friends and your colleagues in Bishkek can also support you with their applause. Dear friends, if possible, please mute your mics. And I would like to say that our today's meeting is already over, and we're going to be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, Nur Sultan or Almaty time, or at 9 o'clock according to Bishkek or Dushanbe time. And you will be able to hear some more stories that will inspire you, will give some new ideas to you, and you will also join this very big movement of volunteerism. Thank you very much indeed. And we will see each other again during 2 sessions, because there will be a conference on the evaluation of social development programs and in Bishkek, and there will be a panel session on interaction of SCO and state government authorities, which is the key of confidence and trust. And you will be able also to see us on our pages in Facebook or YouTube. Thank you very much for being with us, and see you tomorrow.